Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on April 3rd, 2019. If you'd like to get my game Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Thank you, and please subscribe. Okay, so the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball Lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me do that, I'm going to turn to the 5 strategies of my game. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball Lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 21, 52, 54, 64, and 68. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And now I'm going to find out what colors they were. Okay, so the 21 was orange. The 52 was red. The 54 was blue. The 64 was green. And the 68 was green. Okay, so I'm going to color those in. Again, the 21 was orange, 52 was red, 54 was blue, and the 64 and 68 were green. Okay, so now I'm going to count how many colors I got. So I got 1 orange, 1 red, 1 blue, and 2 green for 4 colors total. Okay, so now I'm going to make this 319. This is how many color code drawings I kept track of so far. And now a 4 color combination has now come up 107 times. Okay, so I want you to take a look at the 3 color combination. And if you divide 173 into 319 real quick, you can see that a 3 color combination comes up more than half the time. Okay, and to me that's huge because long term, if I just keep on playing a 3 color combination, I know I'm going to be correct more than half the time. Okay, so I'm going to start over with a new game card. So what I'm going to do is get rid of the colors here. So what I did is I took the 69 white ball numbers, okay, and I divided it by 5 different colors, and that's 1 for each of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay, and that equals 13.8. So my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers per color as possible, okay? Or a good representation of each color, okay? So my color code is right here. So you can see that the last 3 drawings and numbers are red numbers. I consider those hot numbers. That's why they're red, okay? So I took the last 3 drawings because that will give me a maximum of 15 numbers, okay? So I'm going to start in with the 21. Then the 52, the 54, the 64, and the 68. And then the next one line down is the 16, 20, 37, 44, 62. And then the last line is 24, 25, 52, which is already taken, 60, and 66. Okay, so now I'm going to count how many red numbers I got. So I got 1, and 1 is 2, and 4 is 6, 7, 8, 3 is 11, 12, 13, 14. So up here I'm going to write I have 14 red numbers. Okay, so that's where I want to be. Okay, an average of either 13 or 14. All right, so moving on to the orange. And if you're wondering how I only got 14 numbers, is because the 52 came up twice here. Okay, so now I'm moving on to the orange, and I'm going to start with the 10, and then the 14, the 50, the 53, 63. Then the next line down is the 30, 34, 39, 53, which is taken, and the 67. Okay, the next line down starts with the 18, 36, 45, 55, and 59. I'm sorry, I think I jumped lines there. So 18, 36, 45, 47, 69. And then the last line is the 5, 6, 45, which is taken, 55, I already punched in, and the 59. So I'll color those orange numbers. And now I'll count how many I got. So I got 1, and 3 is 4, and 4 is 8, 2 is 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 orange numbers. Okay, so that's a little bit high than I want, okay? But the thing about my color code here is that this thing is set in stone, okay? So just because I have more orange numbers, that doesn't mean that I could just take out this last line and say, okay, I'll bring it down to a more better number, okay? Like I said, this is set in stone and it will work its way out, okay? So this is like a caterpillar where this 21 will keep on making its way down, and eventually there'll be a lot less orange numbers here, okay? So moving on to the green, okay? So you can see that I have more green numbers than orange and more orange than red. And the reason why that is because the more numbers that I fill in on the game card here, the more numbers I need here to get up to that 13 or 14 mark, okay? So I'm going to start in with the green, with the 6, which is taken, the 10, taken, 21, taken, 35 is open, the 46, 1, 19, 25 is taken, 27, 68 is taken, then the 21 is taken, 31, 42, 49, 59 is taken, and then it's the 4, 6 is taken, 14 is taken, 20 is taken, 32, then the 27, which is taken, the 49 is taken, 50, 51 is available. Okay, and the last line is 29, 30, which is taken, 41, 48, and 64. So I'm going to count these out. So I got 4, and 3 is 7, and 2 is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I have 14 green numbers, which is right where I want to be. Okay. And now for the blue, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll over to the right just to save on time here to speed things up. Okay, so you can see that this is the game card for April 3rd, 2019, and you can see that there's 14 red, 18 orange, 14 green, turned out to be 16 blue, and 7 purple. Okay, so the thing about this game is, again, more than half the time a 3-color combination comes up. Okay, so that means more than half the time 2 of these colors are not coming up, and that's what I want to focus on here. So again, the whole strategy is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so as I look at this, I've been picking green for the last like 7-8 drawings now, and it's still burning me, so I'm just going to keep on picking green until it doesn't come up. Okay, so far a green number has come up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 drawings, okay? And you can see that 18th one didn't have any green numbers to it, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pick green again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate these green numbers off of the game card here, okay? So last drawing, if you could have picked that no purple numbers were going to come up, you would have been correct, okay? So you could have gotten rid of these purple numbers and gave yourself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a comparison here from last drawing to this drawing. Okay, so again, if you pick no purple numbers, that would have been a good guess because there was only 7 numbers last drawing. Okay, you could have gotten rid of these numbers. Okay, so let me block those out. Okay, so you can see that blocking out those purple numbers, the winning numbers are still on the game card here. Okay, the 21, the 52, the 54, the 64, and the 68. Okay, so that's what I hope to do with this drawing when I get rid of the green numbers. Hopefully no green numbers will be coming up this drawing. So I'm going to block those out. Okay, so again, if I made the correct pick and none of these green numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so one more thing is I'm spending $3 on this Powerball ticket. Okay, I always get the power play. So in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these green numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so what I like to do is get you involved here. So at home, if you could pause the video, go grab some paper and draw out this game card for yourself, okay? So there's 16 numbers here per square, and then there's 5 numbers off to the side, and I'll go over that in a second, okay? So go get that ready, and I'm going to go back to the game card. So what I'm going to do, if you decide to fill this out, and you decide to follow me with no green numbers, then this is what your game card will look at home, okay? So you could just X out the numbers that you don't think are going to come up, and this is how your game card should look, okay? So moving on to the next strategy, and that is strategy number 2, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks, okay? So again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. So I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the upcoming majority will be, okay? So how this works is I'm going to make this 364, okay? And that's 364 drawings, and that goes back to October 7th, I do believe it was, October 15th, 2015. That's when the Powerball Lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers, okay? So since then, the numbers were for this last drawing, 21, 52, 54, 64, and 68. So you can see that there was 4 even numbers. So I'm going to make this 1 odd number came up, 4 even. So the majority was even numbers, so I'm going to make this 173, okay? So these were even just about a month ago, and now the odd has gone on a run here, okay? So what I do here is I divide things up into every 5 drawings just so I can get that majority out of things, okay? So when I see something like this, where it's been odds, 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 you know, eventually it's going to turn evens. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen, okay? So for this next drawing here, the drawing coming up, I'm going to say that there's going to be more odd numbers than even numbers, okay? Even though it's way behind on the count, I believe that it's going to go back to odds for the next drawing, and then the following drawing will probably go back to evens, all right? But for this drawing, I'm going to guess that more odd numbers are going to come up. So I'm going to write that down over here as far as odd numbers. Okay, so that's what I want you to do as well, is I want you to make a guess on what you think the majority will be. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. And now I'm going to work my way up so you can see that this is all 5 drawings came up, the majority of even numbers, okay? This was 3 to 2, 3 to 2, 4 to 1, okay? Over here, this was 5 odd numbers came up. So again, here's this big run of odd numbers. Another reason why I like to break it down into 5, it's easier to count going 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, okay? 25 drawings, the majority has been odd numbers, okay? So I got to believe eventually it's going to turn around and be evens, all right? So again, make a decision on what you think is going to be the majority. Okay, so moving on to the next one. This is high and low. You can see that all the red numbers are considered high. All the ones in blue are considered low. So the 66, the 67, and 65 are in that low area. So when those numbers come up, I do record it as low numbers. Okay, so looking back here, for this last drawing, you can see that the numbers were 21, 52, 54, 64, and 68. So there was 4 high numbers and 1 low number. So I'm going to make this 185. Okay, so most of the time it does come up like a 3-to-2 ratio for some reason. Okay, but a 4-to-1 hasn't come up in a little while. And here it is again. So maybe that's due to come up. Okay. So in order to get a 4-to-1 ratio, the high number will have to have the majority again. So that's what I'm going to pick, is I'm going to say that there's going to be more high numbers than low numbers. So I'm going to write that down as well. Okay, so I want you to do the same thing, and basically what that does is it's going to give you a roadmap on eliminating certain numbers. Okay, so if I think the majority of the numbers are going to be to the high side here, then I'm going to look to eliminate numbers on this low side. Okay, so moving on to the next one. This is left and right. Okay, so I've already filled this in, so you can see that the majority is already 3-to-2 here. Okay, so it's been 4-to-1, 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 4-to-1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to guess that more numbers are going to go to the left side than the right side. Okay. So again, when I'm looking to eliminate numbers, I'm thinking that there's only going to be 2 numbers over here on this right side. Okay. So moving on. Actually, I'm going to write that down. Left. Okay. And for the last one here, this is the last 50-50 thing that you can make out of this, and that's the red area and the blue area. Okay, you can see that the red is way far ahead. Okay, so let me scroll down a little bit. You can see this huge number of red here. So it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 35 drawings where the majority was red numbers. Okay. So at some point, I think it's going to turn around and be a bunch of blue. So I'm going to say that the majority of the numbers will be in this blue side here, okay? With at least 2 of them up here in this area here. Okay? So one last thing. Let me write that down as well. Okay, so one last thing, I do have something for the Powerball numbers itself. The red ball, okay, there's 26 red balls. And what I did on this side, on this column right here, is I just took those 26 and I divided it in half, okay? So if you see a blue number, that means it's low, 1 to 13, okay? And if you see a red number, that's high, 14 to 26. So over here on this column, if you see a red number, then that's odds. If you see a blue one, then that's evens, okay? So why I do this is just so I can look at the colors, okay? So when I see a long thing of color of red here, well, I know it's going to turn blue eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen, okay? So here, I'm thinking that this is going to be red, all right? And I'm thinking that this is going to be red over here as well. Okay, so I'm thinking that uh, I've been going with the 9 for a little while here, and that's what I'm going to go with here. I'm hoping that the 9 is going to come up. But what I'll do is I'll scroll this down a little bit for you. So what this green thing means is that the Powerball repeated itself. You can see that the 14 came up and then it repeated. Okay. Also, the 9 hasn't come up in a while. This is the last time it came up. Okay. So it's been forever. So I'm hoping that it's due to come back up again. Okay, so moving on to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 3, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers, okay? So what I did is I took the 69 white ball numbers and I divided it into 7 different groups, okay? Let me bring this down so you can see the whole card. Okay, so group number 1 holds the numbers of 1 through 9. This is the only one with 9 numbers, okay? And then the rest have 10 numbers, making it 69, all right? So I call this the teens, even though that the 10, 11, 12 is here. So it's the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. And plus the 1 through 9 for 7 groups total, okay? So there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So that means 2 of these Powerball numbers, 2 of these groups, cannot have a winning Powerball number to it, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group from the game card, okay? So last drawing, if you could have said that there was no numbers from the 1 through 9, you would have been correct, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow this back up. And I'm going to go to the game card. So last drawing, if you would have guessed no numbers from 1 through 9. Oh, sorry about that. Were to come up. Okay, you would have been correct. All right. So for this drawing, for me, I'm going to guess that no 60 numbers are going to come up, okay? And the reason why I'm doing this is, for one thing, well, let me explain how I use this, okay? So this big square right here, this is good for 5 drawings. Again, I like to break things down into 5, all right? This doesn't really show me a majority like the others, but what it does, what my theory is that if there's not a lot of hits here in this 5 drawings, then maybe there'll be a lot in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa, okay? The reason why I'm going with no 60 numbers is because a 60 number has come up in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drawings now, okay? And I just don't think it will be a 7, okay? So I'm going to eliminate these 60 numbers off of the game card. Okay, so for this drawing, I'm going to get rid of the 60s. So it's 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, and 69. Okay, and I'll go over why the 60s are all over the place here. Okay, so let me go back to the individual numbers for you. So last drawing, you can see that it was the 21, 52, 54, 64, and 68, okay? So that hit 3 groups, so I write that down as well. So what I haven't seen in a little while is a 4, okay? So what I'm thinking is that 4 groups are going to come up this drawing, okay? So you can see with this 21 how it's orange. And when I go to the 21, you can see that I marked it orange because of the color code, okay? So how you can use this is you can highlight this 21, and you can go back into the history and see what colors have not come up, okay? So here you can see that a blue hasn't come up in a while, okay? And you can see just all kinds of things that may help you out by picking a number here, okay? So it just gives you some information, all right? So moving on, what I'd like you to do at home is I'm going to reduce this down again. Okay, and I'd like you to look at this and decide for yourself what you think, what group do you think is not going to come up? What group is not going to have a winning Powerball number to it? Okay, so over here through 1 through 9, you can see that there's been no winning numbers here in the last 6 drawings. Okay, it may be due to have a blank space here. A blank space does come up every now and again. Here's one right here. Okay, but very few and far between. Okay, so maybe you want to consider a number of the 1 through 9 coming up in this next drawing. Okay, to keep this space from being blank. All right, so moving on. Let me go back to the strategies here. Okay, so strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here, these are my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all the numbers and I divided it into 4 different groups and I put colors to these groups. Okay, so when the 5 white winning Powerball numbers land within these groups, I record where they land down here in the stats. Okay, so for this last drawing, the 21 was in the blue. The 54 was in the green, the 52 was in the orange, the 64 green, and the 68 orange. Okay, so I had no winning Powerball numbers in the red area. Oops, I'm sorry. Okay, so in the blue area, I had the 21. In the orange area, I had 2, the 52 and 68, and in the green, it was the 54 and 64, okay? So when it has a hit to it, I color the background red for hot, and I color the background blue for cold if there's a miss, okay? So up here, this 82, since it had a miss, now I'm going to make it 83, and that means that there's 83 of these blue marks here in this column, okay? Okay, and also what I do is I write down how many came up in this streak, and there was 5. Okay, so this one's up to 10 now. And if it's under 7, then I just leave it blank because it's easy to count, okay? So this one's up to date, okay? So the strategy here is for you to guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Because if I could have correctly guessed that none of these red numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, I could have eliminated all these numbers and gave myself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize. Okay, so I'm moving on to number 2 here. So with this one, again, the numbers were 21, 52, 54, 68, and 64. So you can see that all 4 of them hit. Okay, so I'm going to start with the red. The 68, and then the blue was the 52, and then the orange was the 21 and 54, and then in the green was that 64. Okay, so when it hits all 4 colors like this, what I do is I call it a row. Okay, so you can see where these rows are. So when I see something like this where there's been a big blank spot of a row, you know, then a big blank spot without any rows to it, then I feel that a row is going to be due, okay? And if I believe that it's due, then what I want to do is make sure that the 5 white winning Powerball numbers that I think are going to come up, I want it to match all 4 of these areas here because I think it's going to be a row, okay? So moving on. Now last drawing, If you could have said that no red numbers were going to come up in this option card number 1, you would have been correct. Okay, so let me go back to the game card. And for this last drawing, I'm going to get rid of all the red areas here, okay? Which includes this 25 and the 19, as a matter of fact. Okay, so you can see that these numbers are over here to the left, okay? The 8, 19, 25, 53, and 58, okay? So over here in group 1, you can see that there's no numbers over here, okay? So this is where I call this sharing the square, okay? Like the 25 will share the square with the 65. And the reason why that is because it goes 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, okay? So this is why the 25 is out here, because we all know where the 25 should go, okay? So why I do this is because I want this right here, okay? I want this grid right here, okay? So since there's 69 numbers, I got to find a way to put those other 5 numbers within here, because this is only good for 64 numbers, okay? So how I look at things is that this is just a group of numbers, okay? This includes all these numbers, the 28 plus the 67 and the 65 as a group, okay? So again, all I'm doing is eliminating groups of numbers, all right? So moving on, I have 15 of these option cards, okay? So the next option card is number 4. And if you could have said that no red numbers were going to come up, you would have been right. And you could have gotten rid of all these red numbers. So let me go do that right now. Okay. So you can still see that the winning numbers are still here. All right. 21, the 52, the 54, the 64, and the 68. Okay. So this is the thing. It's very simple that if you choose from less numbers, you have a better chance at winning. Okay. So for this drawing here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these with you here. So again, this is where the 50-50 picks come in, okay? So again, I wanted more odd numbers than even, more to the high side, more to the left side, and more to this blue area, okay? So as I look at this, I'm thinking, okay, so I want more to the high side, more to the left, all right? So maybe this blue is going to miss again right here. Maybe this blue is time to miss, all right? And I think that's what I'm going to go for here. I'm going to say that no blue numbers are going to come up here in this next drawing, all right? So let me go to this game card here, this drawing. And again, I'm going to get rid of the blue numbers, which includes the 8. Because the 8 shares the square with the 66 here, okay? So moving on. Here with option card number 2. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but again, I'm looking for more numbers here to the left side and more numbers here to the high side here, okay? Okay, but I don't really see anything, so I'm going to move on. This is why I gave myself so many options here, okay? So looking at here again, I think more numbers are going to be here to the left, and more numbers are going to be up here to the high side, okay? Which I'm not really seeing anything, so I'm going to move on. Okay, so you may want to consider this blue one because it has a bunch of single zeros here. Okay, I'm not going to choose that one, but you may want to. Okay, here with number 5. I'm not really seeing anything here either. So I'm going to move on. Number 6. Not sure, so I'm going to move on. This number 7, I'm going to go with no green here, okay? Mostly because I had a really long run of 22 and then a 9, and now I think it's just going to be this 1 here, okay? So a 1 comes up a lot. You can see these 1s right here. 1 over here, 1, 1, 1, okay? 1, 1. They just come up a lot. So over here for this green, you can see that a 1 hasn't come up in a very long time here. Right here, okay? And before that, it was not too long ago, but long enough, all right? So I'm going to say, since I haven't seen a 1 here in a little while, I'm going to say it's due to have 1, so I think the 0 is going to be right here, okay? And we'll see what happens. So I'm going to get rid of these green numbers, okay? These 4 corner numbers, then the middle, then the 34, 35, 45, 69. Okay, so you can see all 4 corners are gone. I'll start with this middle, then the 34, 59, 44, and the 53 shares the square with that 69, so I'll get rid of that as well. Okay, so hopefully I made all the correct picks, and these blocked out numbers, hopefully they don't come up, and the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers are still on the game card, just like it was here last drawing, okay? So moving on to the next strategy. Whoops, I'm sorry. What I'm going to do is give you a chance to look at these others here, okay? So again, I have 15 of them, so I'm just going to take my time, and hopefully I'll give you a couple of good picks. Okay, because it's 19, it was such a long run here that maybe it's due to have a 0 right here on this option card number 8, okay? So you may want to take that one. Here with option card number 9. This one's hard to see, so I'm moving on. Option card number 10. Here's one where it's been 8, 9, 10, 11 drawings without a row. Okay, so you may want to make sure that all 5 of your picks correspond with the 4 colors here with this option card 10. Okay, so moving on. Here's one with quite a few zeros to it in this red area. This may double up like over here, okay? So you may want to pick that one. Okay, moving on. I really don't see anything here, so I'm gonna keep going. Don't see anything here, so I'm going to move on. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this green because it's been 21 drawings in a row here. Okay, so when it hits the 20s, you know, that's just a long streak to hit, because again, there's only this one doubles up, and that's the only one. So there's 17 numbers here, you know, but still out of 69, you know, you're still talking 50 something numbers that can still come up. Okay, so it's hard to keep on having a number come up like that in a certain area that only has 17 numbers out of 69 numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go with this. I think the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so it's the pattern of 1, 12, 17, 28 all the way around here. And that's for this drawing. Okay, so that takes out a couple. Okay, and for the last drawing here, I think I already went through everything. Okay, so here with this option card 15, you can see there hasn't been a row here in a while in 8 drawings, so maybe a row will be coming up here as well. Okay, so here, this is an overview of group 1. Okay, so how I use this is that if there's 4 or less zeros among all these 15 option cards, then I mark the background red for hot. Okay, if there's more than 5 zeros, okay, or a third of all the option cards, I mark it blue for cold. Okay, so the thing about these option cards is that they all have the same colors as red, blue, orange, green. Okay, so that's 15. Here's 14, red, blue, orange, green. Okay, so I keep track of it as for the colors. Okay, and in the last drawing, you can see that the orange and the red had more than 5 or more zeros among all 15 of those option cards. Okay, so for this drawing, I think that the 0 just might be here, or the blue mark might be here for the green areas. Okay, so I'm expecting at least 5 zeros among these green areas here. Okay, going through all 15 option cards. Okay, so we'll see what happens. All right, so now I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups. Okay, so it just gives me another way of looking at groups of numbers. All right, except with this one, again, there's 8 groups of numbers, and there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So I know that 3 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so this strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these colored groups will not have a winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so the last drawing here, the winning numbers were the 21 in purple, the 52 in green, the 68 in blue, the 54 brown, and the 64 yellow. Okay, so I have 15 of these option cards as well, and they all have the same colors to it as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. Okay, so I like to start from the left, work my way to the right. So I have 1 blue, 1 green, 1 purple, 1 brown, and 1 yellow. Okay, so working my way down here. Again, I have 0 red, 1 blue number, that's 68. No orange, 1 green number, that 52. Okay, one purple number, the 21, one brown number, the 54, no gray, and one yellow, that's 64. Okay, so how many groups did it hit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. Okay, and since the majority of the hits were over here to the right side, I colored this 5 green. Okay, like this red here, this red 3, the majority of the numbers were over here to the left side. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, so this helps me when I see a streak of red here. Well, I know it's going to be green eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so here I'm kind of thinking that this is going to be a red number. All right, so that means I think the majority of the numbers are going to be over here to this left side. So one that's standing out to me is this purple right here. Okay, I'm thinking that this is going to be a 0 right here. Okay, but what I'm going to do is why I have these red and blue is, let me explain that for a second here. Okay, so up here again, I like to keep track of every 5 drawings, so it shows me that majority. Okay, so here you can see 3 zeros, so the majority was misses, so I colored the background blue for cold. Okay, so the next one down, you can see that the majority was hits, so I colored the background red for hot. Okay, so working my way down, you can see that, well, it gets pretty hot here. Okay, so I know it's going to turn blue eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so here, the last drawing, if you could have said that no red numbers were going to come up, you would have been correct. Okay, and the red numbers are 1 through 57. Okay, and it shares the square with the 25 as well. So there's 9 numbers that I keep track of in this group. Okay, and all 9 numbers did not come up last drawing, so I'm going to get rid of them. Okay, okay, so for this drawing, what I do is I only count the red marks. Okay, so up here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I put a 5 over here. Okay, so I think that this is going to be 4. All right, right here. So that means there's 1, 2, 3, 4 red marks already here. So that means that if I'm going to put a 4 here, then this has to be a 0 to make it blue. Okay, so that's what I think is going to happen. I think the 0 will be right here, and I'm going to say no blue numbers are going to come up. So I'm going to get rid of these blue numbers right here, which includes the 58 and 68. Okay, so this is this drawing right here, so I'm going to get rid of the 2, the 26, the 50, and the 58. So hopefully none of those numbers come up. Okay, so moving on to number 2. Okay, so again, the winning Powerball numbers that came up last drawing were the 21, 52, 54, 64, and 68. So 1 orange, 2 gray, 2 yellow. So nothing came up in the red area. Nothing came up in the blue area. There's 1 in the orange, at 21. Nothing in the green. Nothing in the purple. Nothing in the brown. And there's 2 hits in the gray, the 52, 54, and there was 2 in the yellow, the 64, 68. Okay, so that was 3 groups that I hit total. And the majority of the numbers were over here to the right side, which is why I colored that green. Okay, so now you can see that these numbers are going to have a blue mark to it. These numbers are going to have a red mark to it. And this one is on the verge. So I do with a yellow number, okay? So this one is, what do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be red or do you think it's going to be blue, okay? So this is what my game does. It kind of makes you guess. You know, it's an easy guess. It's either it's going to hit or it's going to miss, okay? 50-50 type thing, all right? So I like those kind of odds. So moving on, you can see that there's 3 red numbers, okay? Bunch of 3, so maybe this is going to be a 4 because a 4 hasn't come up in a while, all right? So maybe this will be a hit, and if it is a hit, that means that one of these numbers will be coming up, the 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, okay? What numbers do you think are going to come up through here? All right? So moving on. Let's see here. Last drawing. If you could have said that no red numbers were going to come up, you would have been right. Okay. You could have got rid of those red numbers. And that's the 1 through the 66. So last drawing. The only one left is the 66, so we'll get rid of that. Just one more number to get rid of. Okay. And over here, for me, I'm going to say that no orange numbers are going to come up. Okay, so hopefully the 0 will be right here. And I'm going to get rid of the 17 through the 24, which includes the 21, 23, and 24. Okay, so moving on here. Now I'm going to let you pick. All right, so I'm going to start with option card number 1. And I'm going to work my way down slowly. And you decide where that 0 is going to be. Okay, so again, there's going to be at least 3 of them. On average, there's 4. Okay. So just saying, if you decide that you think that the 0 is going to be right here, okay, then you are going to X out these purple numbers off of your game card. Okay, so moving on to the next one. This is for you at home. Okay, so where do you think that 0 is going to be? Okay, if you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 3. Last drawing. If you could have said that no red numbers were going to come up, you would have been correct. Okay. And those red numbers are the 4 and the 37. So get rid of the 69, 53, 61, 69. Okay, and for this drawing, I'm going to say no red as well. So I'm going to get rid of the 4 and the 37 as well. And that's just the 20. Okay, so like I said, it's just one more number. Okay, so moving on for you at home. Okay, this looks pretty attractive right here. All right, so maybe no brown numbers will be coming up for you. All right. Okay, and now moving on. Whoops, I'm sorry. Got to go know what numbers to get rid of. So if you decide to get rid of that brown, it's the 5 and the 34. Okay. So moving on. Last drawing. If you could have said no blue numbers were going to come up, you would have been correct. And those numbers are the 13 and the 41. So again, last drawing, 13 41. Okay, so moving on here. For me, I'm going to say no blue numbers are going to come up as well. 13 and 41 for this drawing. And that takes out the 43. Okay, so for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly here. Look at this big thing of green over here. Okay, so maybe this is going to be red, so the majority of the zeros might be over here on this side. All right. But here we already have 1, 2, 3 red marks. Four and 5. 5 just might come up. Okay. All right. Make a decision. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off of your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 5, last drawing. If you could have gotten rid of the green numbers, you would have been correct. And you could have gotten rid of all these numbers here. Okay, so last drawing. 39, 48, 56, 63, 62. Okay, so you can still see that the 64 is still in play. Okay. And the 54 is still in play. All right. Okay, so moving on. For me, I'm going to go with that's green as well. All right. So I'm going to get rid of those green numbers. That's the 38, 39, and that's it. Okay, so for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly here. And you decide where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay, so if you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 6. Last drawing. If you could have said no yellow numbers, you would have been correct. And that's a 2, 9, 18, 65. So I'll get rid of the 50. Okay, so you can still see that, oh, I got rid of the 21 somehow. Well, I'm just going to keep on moving on here. I know that was orange. Okay, I must have screwed it up over here. Okay, so anyways, moving on. For me, option card number 6, I'm going to go with no purple numbers. The 7, 16, 23, 32. I get rid of the 55. Okay, so for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly here. And you decide where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay, so if you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off of your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 7. Last drawing. If you could have said no red numbers were going to come up, you would have been correct. Okay. And that's the 65, 18, 27, 20. Okay, so a couple more numbers off the board. And then over here for this drawing, I'm going to say no yellow numbers. So again, I think the 0 is going to be right here. So I'm going to get rid of the 17, 26, 67, 28 all the way across. See, I almost did that again. This is for this drawing, and you can see that there's no numbers to get rid of here. Okay, so you see how I screwed things up there. But for you at home, here we go. I'm going to scroll down slowly here. Tell you, this green looks really attractive. It hit 7 drawings in a row here, so maybe the 0 will be right here. Okay. Okay, if you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off of your game card. Okay, so moving on. Number 8, last drawing. If you could have said no orange numbers are going to come up, you would have been correct. Okay. And that's the 7, 14, 23, 30. Okay, so you can still see that those numbers are still left here, the 21, 52, 54, 64, 68, okay? And for me on this drawing, I'm going to say no orange numbers are going to come up. Okay, so hopefully the 0 will be right here. And I'm going to get rid of the 7, 14, 23, 30 as well. And there's nothing to get rid of here. Okay, so moving on. For you at home, we're going to scroll down slowly here. And you decide where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay, if you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group when you're ready. Okay, so moving on to number 9. Last drawing, if you could have said that no gray numbers were going to come up, all right, you would have been correct. And that's the 10, 67 on the left side and 730 on the right side. So I'll get rid of the 51. Okay, so for this drawing, I'm going to say no blue numbers, the 27, the 227 on the left, and the 1621 on the right. Okay, so you can see that there's nothing to get rid of for me. I almost did it again over here. Okay, so for you at home, I'll scroll down slowly for you. Okay, so where do you think that 0 is going to be? If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group when you're ready. Okay, so moving on to option card number 10, we're almost done. Okay, last drawing, if you could have said no purple numbers. You would have been correct. You could have gotten rid of the 1027, that pattern all the way around. And get rid of the 59. Okay, and for me, if you got rid of the gray numbers, all right, 1728 pattern all the way around. Okay, so you can see that there's nothing to get rid of here, okay? So for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly for you. And you decide where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay, so if you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group when you're ready. Okay, so moving on to number 11, last drawing. If you could have said no blue numbers were going to come up, you would have been correct, okay? Get rid of the blue, that's a 7, 18, 36, 69. So get rid of the 36. Okay, and for this drawing here, okay, so I'm gonna pick I think I'm gonna go with the yellow here. I'm gonna say that the 0 is right here, and I'm going to get rid of the yellow. So the 4, 21, 39, 50. So I'll get rid of the 47. Okay, and for you at home, okay, decide where you think that 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out those numbers off of your game card. Okay, so moving on. Last drawing, if you could have got rid of the blue numbers, you would have been correct. And that's the 66 and 36. Okay, so that takes off 2 of them. And for me, I'm going to say no yellow again here. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of the 3 and the 39. Okay, and for you at home, okay, decide where you think that 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X off that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to 13. Last drawing, if you could have said no yellow numbers. You see no yellow numbers came up. And that's the 1 and the 37. I'll get rid of that 47 there. Okay, and for this drawing, I'm going to say no red, the 65, 61. I'll get rid of the 54. Okay, and for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly here. Certainly this red looks pretty attractive. Okay. So pause the video if you need more time. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to 14. Last drawing, if you could have said no yellow numbers, you would have been correct. And that's the 13 and 44. Okay, so there's the winning Powerball numbers here. I can't get rid of the 58, okay, because it shares the square with the 68. So when you get it down to here, it would have been a guess on which number would not be coming up, okay? So over here, I'm still working on this. And for this drawing, I'm going to say no purple numbers, okay? 42 and 14 here. Okay, so there's nothing here. And for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly. You tell me where you think that 0 is going to be. Okay, if you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off of your game card. Okay, so last one. For this drawing for me, I'm going to say no purple numbers. And I'm going to get rid of the 41, 49. I guess there's nothing to get rid of here, so I'm going to make a decision on my own here, okay? And I'm going to say it's going to be the 9, the 36. I'm sorry, the 9, the 25, 36, 52, 57, okay? So I think all the numbers will be over here to the left side, okay? This will give me more odd numbers. The 9, 25, 57, okay? So more odds, more to the high side. So I'll get rid of that 40 so it doesn't confuse me here, okay? More to the left and more to that blue area right here, okay? So again, I'm going to go with the 9, the 25, the 36, 52, 57, okay? So let me go back for one last one here for you. I'm going to scroll down slowly. And you can see this big red area here. So maybe the majority of the numbers will be over here to the right side. So maybe you want to look for those zeros over here to the left side, okay? Okay, so if you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so going back here, again, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 9, 25, 36, 52, 57, okay? And that will also give me that 4 that I'm looking for here in the individual numbers here, okay? You can see that it will hit 4 groups. 9's a group, 25's a group, 36 a group, and the 52 and 57 are in a group, okay? For 4 groups total. Okay, so moving on here. I just want to go over the odds, okay? So the odds of getting the grand prize, all 5 white balls and a red ball, that's 1 in 292 million, okay? Just getting the 5 white balls, that's my goal, okay? If I get the grand prize and bonus, right? Okay, so this is odds of 1 in just about 12 million. This is a nice prize. 4 white balls and a red ball will pay 50,000 plus the power play. Okay, and that's just about 1 in a million odds of doing that. All right, and then the more realistic prizes, getting 4 white balls or 3 in a red ball, that's a $100 prize plus the power play if you play it. And the $7 prize will be 3 white balls or 2 in the Powerball itself. That's about 1 in 700. Okay, so those are the odds. Okay, and I just want you to know that you know, they always say play responsibly. So I just want to say that if you play $3 per drawing, that will equal $312 per year. Okay, so in closing, I want to thank you for watching. Okay, if you'd like to support my channel, then please go to my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. And as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.